If you've ever read a book to your son, to your daughter, to your grandchild, to your class, you know there's a bit of a challenge because the words are only printed on one side of the page. And so if you're reading the book, the person you're reading the book to can't see it. They can only see you. They access the book through you. There's this inherent asymmetry between the teacher and the student. Some people are able to try to turn the book around and read it upside down. It doesn't work too well. Sometimes you'll see teachers reading and then turning the book out so that the children could see the pictures. But the words themselves can only be seen by the teacher, and that puts the students at a disadvantage. Rav Hirsch explains that it is for this reason that the pasuk describes the luchos, that they were constructed in a miraculous fashion. Kesuvim mishnei evrehem, that the writing went through and through, but normal writing, even if it would go through and through, would appear backwards on the outside. But mizeh mizehim kesuvim, it was also written that it could be read on each side. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, on Moshe's side, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, on their side. To counter the assumption that they may have had that Moshe is this pivotal figure and we can only access the Torah through him. In fact, Rav Hirsch points out the sequence of the psukim seems to be interrupted. The pasuk says Moshe came down and he was holding the luchos. Then he sees the egel, and the whole description of that, of the golden calf, where the people say, Ki zeh Moshe ha'ish, that this man Moshe, we don't know what happened to him. And then after that episode, the pasuk recounts the luchos were written so that they could be read on both sides. The pasuk is trying to tell us that that at the core of what went wrong with the golden calf was the Jewish people's over-reliance on a person, on Moshe. And that's why the pasuk over and over emphasizes their statement, Ki zeh Moshe ha'ish, this Moshe, this man. To counter that, the luchos are written like no book you've ever seen, with the words read on both sides. The Torah can be accessed by anyone from any direction. Of course, there's a Rebbe-Talmud relationship that's essential. But once we have the luchos, we all have our portion. And that's why chavrusa study partners, is by far the dominant, most popular way in which Torah is studied. If you looked around the world and you took a survey of what percentage of the hours of Torah studied are done independently, are done in groups, and done in chavrusas, it's well over 90%, probably over 95%. The amount of Torah study that is learned by chavrusa. And this is why. Because it is an essential part of Torah for each person to be accessing it on their level and together with someone on the other side. You have the luchos in the middle, the words are on both sides, and we're reading to each other and getting in that back and forth. But there's another reason why chavrusas are so important. The pasuk tells us that there were two luchos. The first ones broke, the second last until this day. What was the difference? Only one difference. Psal L'cha. The first luchos came from Hashem. They were a gift from on high. You hear a beautiful shir, it's wonderful, you get distracted, it breaks. It's fleeting. It was exciting, and now it's out. Psal L'cha, the second time around, Hashem told Moshe, you have to carve out the stone. You have to put in the work. That's what a chavrusa does. You figure it out together. And then it is etched in stone. And it stands the test of time. And that's why chavrusas are so important. Mizeh mizehim ksuvim. The Torah should be able to be read from both sides, wherever you're sitting. You have the text. The Chavrusa has the text. Together, you carve your path through the intricacies of the Torah, and that engages you, that changes you, and that is why we are still here today, and that is why we will continue. L'netzach nitzachim.